Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daycheck with Queen Bee Creations. I know it's springtime, but I'm freezing, so I have like a long sleeve sweater on. I have another sweater and I just put on another one. So bad. I have concrete floors in here and really tall ceilings. So when it's cold and kind of damp out, it's just brutal. So, you know, pardon me as I layer up here. I popped by the thrift store this morning, as I do often, because you just can't count on one time doing it. And I found this. So it's like 3 pictures on this big board. Now, it did have, just so I don't cut myself, it did have glass in the back of this one, but it did not have the black backing. And so it fell out and broke. So this is originally from, I just ripped out some hairs. This is originally from HomeSense. It was $25. Then it was on sale for $19. And I got it for $8 thrifting. So wasn't looking, but that has to go into my glass disposal. But I do have this little frame that I thrifted for $3.99 that happens to have on the inside the perfect size of glass and backing. So I'm back in business. What I'm gonna do is obviously remove this. I'll use the little frame for a different project. But what I thought that we could do is, first of all, this distressing is awful. It's like just so uniform and it's just so fake. It distresses me. What we're gonna do is we're gonna paint this entirely. I'm gonna remove all the glass pieces. We're gonna paint the whole thing in beadboard by DIY. I want to distress back to some of this blue. I quite like the blue color. I don't like the distressing job. So I'm gonna paint it, distress back to the blue, and then we're gonna do some artwork to fit into this to finish it off. So I'm using this as kind of like a big frame to do, you know, a little trio of matching pictures. So just using same colors and same process, but pictures that go together, and I'll sell my artwork. So what I'm gonna do is get these out, and you know, when I get a chance, I'll take the other one out of that other frame. Oops. These will all have to be cleaned off, of course, because they're very dusty. And I'll get a box and I'll start another broken glass pile because Lord knows. In here, I get a lot of broken tchotchke and glass pieces and that sort of thing that has to get disposed of. And then I'm gonna get, because this is dark, I am going to have to paint a number of coats. Probably, I mean, if I can get away with 2, that would be lovely. Odds are it's maybe gonna be 3 coats of the beadboard. We'll see how that goes. And then we'll come back and we will do some distressing together. Yeah, this just is not a good job. Our frame is completely dry now, and the next steps in the process are as simple as sanding it down. And I'm doing this for 2 reasons. One, because I used a clay-based paint, it's just got a little bit of texture to it. That's because microscopically you've got some paint particles sticking up. So, you know, simply doing that smooths that out. However, I also want to reveal a little bit of the blue underneath. So I'm going to be distressing to be able to add some of that color. I'm not going to do it on camera because it's noisy. And then I am just going to seal it with wax. So I'm using the DIY clear wax. I'm going to brush it on, wipe it down, leave this to dry, and then this baby will be done. And it allows us to move on to the inserts. Now, certainly you could simply be done at this point, and you could clean a glass, put it back in, and leave this, just sell this in a booth if you're a reseller, or at a market or in your shop as it is. Allow your customers to be able to put a picture into it. You could cut down any of your favorite wallpapers or decoupage papers, and you could insert those images in. Maybe you've got some cards that were, prints from an artist. That would be great to put in, or postcards that you picked up from some of your trips and travels. That would be lovely. And know that this frame can work this way as well as this way. What I like to do when I'm selling things like this in my shop is do a little painting and insert that. Obviously, a customer can take that out, pop in whatever makes more sense to them. But I do tend to find that it sells better. And I prefer doing that than cutting down a piece of decoupage paper, because that doesn't seem as special. And, just the decoupage paper costs me more, so then I'm charging more. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go away, I'm gonna get this one sanded down and sealed off and drying, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna paint up a couple of watercolors to pop in here. I need 3. You can see I've got 4 because I wanna take the 3 I like best. And what I've decided is I'm just gonna do a really loose, rough landscape, possibly 2, maybe 3 colors tops. And I'm going to use lots of water on my watercolor paper and just have it saturate in some areas and do it different for each one, so that they'll be the same colors, they'll all be kind of landscapes, but they'll maybe move and bleed in different ways. So I want to start, and I've got some rough colors on my palette here, so I'm going to start with just a blue. And I'm just going to drop this in, and I'm tilting my head back to see the glare of the color. You can kind of see the reflection of it in the lights. So I wanted to follow that line. And I just want to go and drop it in a little bit more where I still have more of that water. Allow it to kind of spread out a bit along there. So I'm just intensifying some of that to let it kind of do its thing, right? That's the beauty of watercolor. We might as well use that. And then I'm going to dry off my brush. I'm just looking for a cloth here. Dry off my brush a bit and just kind of soften that underline a little bit. And watercolors, remember, always dry lighter. So I just want to get a little bit more of that shoreline happening there. Next, I want to, I'm just cleaning off that brush, take that same brush, and now I'm dipping it into some of my greens. And I'm just going to take it sideways across my page a bit. Dip in a little bit of water, and I'm just going to come up where the blue meets the green and just kind of have those blend together a little bit. Clean my brush because I got some blue on it. Go and tap into my greens a little bit more and just drop those in. Across my blue line just a little bit more. And that's it. That's all I'm doing. and I'm letting it do its thing. I'm letting it dry. I just want something nice and simple. So I'm going to do something similar on each of the others, and then we'll kind of see how they dry and what they look like, if we need to add more or if we're just good to go. Once your base watercolor is dry, you're just going to take a very small little paintbrush and go back into those same original colors that you'd used. And you can add in just a little bit of color here and there to kind of strengthen some of the details of what you've done. So if you're looking at wanting to have some of the image of trees, you know, you might want to add a little bit of that detailing to be able to give the impression of that. You know, this one we're probably gonna strengthen more some of the blues rather than the green, because maybe we're looking at, maybe this is sort of like a snow-capped mountain. Kind of has that look to me. So first, maybe we'll do a little bit of tree line down here. Let's strengthen a little bit of that blue shade down in there. And then we can go back in and add some of the green. So that's all we're doing at this stage, is just playing with strengthening some of the colors, creating a little bit of an image based on whatever the heck that watercolor decided to do. And then we just let this dry and we're done. Right, here's our finished project with those little watercolors added in. Now, we kept them nice and soft. They're just in the blues and greens natural tones for this. Easily switched out for anything that anybody would want to use instead, whether pictures of their kids or, you know, florals or cutting cards, whatever you want to do. But definitely looks nicer, cleaner in the white, that little hint of blue showing through. We're kind of mirrored with the color choices for the watercolors. Just kind of a nice, super sweet little decor piece. Unexpected when I was thrifting, but that's what you got to do. You got to pick them up when you see them and just roll with it. Let me know what you think of this one. Would you have picked this up? I can't imagine not picking it up if you were thrifting, but let me know. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. And until then, take care.